Hey, 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 guys. This is Eve. I am here with the one and only John from Pint O Comics. How you doing, John?
I'm good. What's going on?
Hanging, surviving, living the dream like we all have been. Let's get right to it. We all know you're a little bitch when it comes to scary movies.
I
We've
am
established this.
absolutely
We've
true.
established this. Yes, yes, we have. So you and I watched a movie, Demons, the other night. We did a little video watch party. You're home with COVID.
I
And
have
I am
COVID.
not.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have the big CO. Yes. You feeling okay?
Yeah, I feel fine. I lost my taste today. That's weird.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
like the worst. How are you
it's
going to
weird.
eat food and not taste it?
I've done it all day today, and it's been very odd. I've never done it before in my life, and it's very weird.
I do hope you get your taste back, though, for real.
Yeah,
And I hope you get
trust
a,
me, I do too.
oh my God,
Thank you.
Christmas and not being able to enjoy the food. Ugh, that's going to suck.
Yeah,
I'm
it's going to be
sorry.
interesting, but it's okay.
Okay, so we got to watch Demons, which you've never seen, and we miss at because Connecticut Code Classes this past weekend had the double feature. They were doing Zombie and Demons,
Yes.
and you didn't go, and I didn't go because my back went out, so I didn't get a chance to go, and you didn't go because you were sick. So we decided we're gonna watch it. We do a little Amazon Prime watch party. Did you like the film?
Yes, I like things. I like things about it. I know that
Okay,
you are a much more ingrained horror fan than I am,
I
uh,
am.
as is our friend Larry. And
Larry the man. Well, so, I watched you guys play your horror. Um, what was it? The horror game, the
yeah, the
trivia game.
trivia. Yeah,
And I'm sorry to say, Larry, if you're listening, I love you. We have my best friend that passed on that you knew. We share that bond from him. But dude, you lost your cred. You lost your scary Larry cred. You didn't know the Blob, dude. Like seriously,
we all got
everybody knows that movie.
we all got our weak points. Larry showed his, but Larry always has the cred. But like the real horror fans, from what I've been hearing, really love Demons. I know that before the Cult Classic show, you were excited about it because you said that was one of your favorite movies of all time.
Oh, I love
Uh,
Demons.
so for me to watch it first time for a horror movie, they did a lot of things right. If you're looking for a movie with any kind of plot whatsoever, they did nothing right.
There was a plot.
There was something written on a page somewhere.
Ay, Dios mío. I
Yeah.
swear there was a plot. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So it starts off with this girl.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing. There's no conversation whatsoever because she's on a train at a subway or whatever. And they're trying to make it look like it's New York, like you were saying. They're trying to make it look like it's New York City, but it's not. We're in what is it? Probably in Italy.
I think I read this was
Somewhere up there.
filmed in Italy and Berlin, Germany. It was filmed in
Yes.
two different places. The theater I think was filmed in Berlin, and I think the a lot of the exterior shots were Italy. The train station looked what I would imagine Italy, looks like.
Which was a nice train station. It was clean, so they missed the mark because it definitely wasn't New York
No.
on that one. No, not at all. But there was no. I like the fact when it starts off, there's no conversations, nothing. It's just a girl, and you're just looking around at the people in the train,
Right.
and it's just music, and you don't know what's happening. You're like, okay, this chick is sitting there. What's going on? What's happening? I like that. And then when they get off, when she gets off, it's quiet. And all of a sudden, it looks like everybody disappeared. And it's just her walking and
Yeah, this
somebody following her.
big train station with nobody there. Yeah.
Nobody there. It's like she was in like on the very bottom part of the subway. And the guy's just walking behind her getting her. What do you think about the guy that was following her?
The robot head guy, the guy with the robot face. Yeah,
His half a face was a mask.
I thought that was very cool. A cool mask because it looked almost like a prosthetic of some sort or something. So yeah, he's following her. He's kind of like in a black trench coaty type, creeper outfit, and he's got this like half cyborg mask on, and he does what all guys who creep on women in the subway with masks on do. He hands her a ticket to a movie theater. you know.
But now let's talk about the mask. Now, did you notice about the mask how it looked like the skin was the skin was pulled apart and the mask was underneath the skin? Did you notice that
Yeah,
particular detail?
it looked almost like it was like it's hard to describe without seeing it, but it looked almost like you said, like it was a ridge running through his face, kind of metal. And
Yes.
you only really get to see it really quickly in that scene, but it was definitely a cool little effect.
I liked it. I liked it because it looked like the mask was actually his head, and it was the skin ripped open, and it was just like the mask was actually his face.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I say this, which I don't think you noticed, and we'll get to it later. So she, of course, creepy guy, she runs back and gets another ticket for her friend that's waiting for her because they're going to school. Like, what time are they going to school, these chicks? What time? Like you were saying, was it classes at 10 p.m.?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was decidedly dark outside. Right.
Well, it started daylight, and all of a sudden, when they got to the theater, it's like 8 p.m. at night already.
Because what you don't realize is that her train rides 6 hours every day to school. So.
Is that why? Yeah. Okay. So there are some characters in this film. Let's see. Who did we meet? Was it Harold?
I don't know any names in this film. I know everybody by their
the old man that said, I took you to the theater, didn't I? For his wife, I think his name was Harold.
Oh, Harold was a real romantic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he really was. He really wanted to watch this movie, and his wife was like, I don't want to fucking be here. He's like, nope, I took you to this movie, didn't I? Yeah, he was a bit of a jerk off. And who else? Then you have the two girls, of course, and then of course you get the two gentlemen that try to pick them up in their own little way. The two guys,
the eye-tie hunks, yeah, okay.
The Italian hunks. Well, only one of them was cute.
Well,
the other one, not so much.
No, the cute guy, and then his kind of ugly friend for the other friend, Yeah.
But the one that kept complaining, it better not be a horror movie.
Yeah, he was bitching out. That would probably be me, in all honesty. But yeah, he was bitching out.
Now, here's what I always get confused, and I've seen this movie since I was 12 years old. I've been watching this film. Here's the thing. The gentleman that's blind and the girl that's with him, it's either, I think he said it's his daughter, but I thought that was his wife.
Whoever it is, she's fucking some other guy.
Yeah, she's getting it in pretty good in the theater. Well, here's the thing. You're fucking blind. Why are you watching a movie? Why are you in a theater if you're blind? That doesn't make any sense. It's 1986. What are you doing?
Well, the movie was so good that he was there for the full sensory experience of demoni, or whatever it's called in Italian, demons. Yeah.
You have your stereotypical pimp and his hose.
Oh yeah, yeah. You had the pimp and the hose. Yep.
The pimp and the hose, and one of the hose, the black hose is it politically correct for me to say the black hose? But the black hoe,
she was definitely a black hoe.
The black hoe grabbed the mask that was out there, and she scratched her face with it.
When all these people get to the movies, and they start introducing like these characters, like blind guy and two girls and pimp and hose. There's also like this whole almost like museum piece going on where there's motorcycles and these silver masks and this all plays into what would be a plot if it was another movie.
It kind of had a plot, and I'll tell you later on why it has a plot, which I think you missed. In the center of this museum-esque type of thing, before you go into the theater, is this big ass motorcycle and this mannequin holding this like sword. And on the edge of the sword, it's hanging is this mask. It's the silver demon mask, and that's the one the black hoe. To all my black people, how you doing? She's wearing the mask. And she puts it on. He tells her, take it off. She takes it off and she cuts her little cheek. And she's bleeding. And then she's like, oh my God. And then her friend, the Italian hoe, you thought she was Puerto Rican. I'm like, no, I think she's Italian.
I said Latina.
Latina.
Yeah, Latina.
Latina hoe.
Yeah.
But she looked more Italian hoe to me, Poppy, okay?
Okay, fine.
But so those are the three. Who else did we get? The teenagers?
You get the teenager. Well, the teenagers show up later, right? Like you're talking about the ones.
I'm not talking about the Coke people. I'm talking about the younger kids.
Oh, the younger kids.
The ones that were kissing.
Right. Okay, yeah, the kids that were like making out. And then there was the nefarious type redheaded girl that worked there that seemed like she was going to be, something was going to happen with her. You weren't sure. She had that like suspicious look the whole time. Like, I know more than you do. And I'm not
Yes, I think
telling
it
you
was the red
something.
hair.
Yeah. The ginger
It's
effect.
the gingers. You know how it is. I know how it is. I know how gingers are. I live with one. So,
You meet more people like we talked about. You meet later on the four, like the punk kids that are doing cocaine out of a Coke can.
So fucking random, that scene. Like, you're in you're watching the theater, you're watching them go crazy, and all of a sudden it cuts to punk kids in a station wagon driving, and he's sniffing coke out of a Coke can with a straw. It's like, okay, did we miss what happened here? Did the movie skip and went somewhere else?
I'm actually glad for that whole bit, because it had one of what I thought was one of the greatest scenes in the movie, is when they're snorting the cocaine out of the Coke can, and one of them knocks it out of the guy's hand or whatever, and it hits the ground, and the leader, he says, you motherfucker, you better pick that Coke up and get every single drop of powder back into that can. And then there's an entire like 2-minute scene of like these three punks like scraping the carpet to get all the cocaine back up and dumping it back into the can. And I was like, this is interesting.
And I'm like, how much Coke was in that fucking can for you to be able to be snorting and driving with a straw? That's a lot of cocaine.
That was a lot of cocaine. Yeah, it was crazy.
A lot of cocaine, Paul. This is what I mean. There is a correlation between the movie and what happened in the theater. When you're watching the movie, it's two kids with their girlfriends. They're trying to find Nostradamus' tomb. And they find Nostradamus' tomb, and the girls just want to leave. And there's a book, and it's about demons. And one of the guys finds the mask, and he puts it on. And he's like, look, good, do I look scary? And they're telling him, take it off, because whoever wears it, it's an instrument, of, I think, the demons, and so on and so forth. And when he takes it off, he has a cut on his chin, which the girls are like, oh, it's just like happened to you. And then her start bleeding a lot, and she leaves. But here's the thing. Did you recognize the guy in the film that cut his face?
Nope.
That is the guy that gave her the ticket.
Oh, the mask guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the plot of this movie that like the people that made this movie are trying to get people to come to see this movie to unleash why don't they just unleash the fucking demons then? Okay, that's fine. I'm not getting mad. But so all right.
It's the same guy in the film that got cut and put the mask on. It's the same guy that was in the subway giving out the tickets.
Yeah, the mask guy.
That were people that were in there. So when chaos erupted and everybody ran to the doors, there were no doors because everything was cinder blocked.
Okay. All right.
So he purposely got all those people in there to release the demon, like they say.
Because there was a good like 6 or 7 minutes where we were kind of watching the movie within the movie, where we kind of backed away from the actual movie we were watching to watch this movie inside the movie about the kids trying to find Nostradamus' tomb. And,
I would like to see that movie be made.
I wonder, there might be a whole, maybe they made a whole, maybe there's a longer bit in it. You know what I mean?
Because they looked interesting. And then within the movie, you had which has nothing to do with the kids that were getting turned. Within the movie, you had the tent, the girl in the tent looking for her friend. And there's this demon behind trying to get through. And she's just literally just screams and doesn't move and tries to get out. I'm like, why don't they just get up and run? Right. Why do they always have women be all terrorized and like, I can't move? Dude, he's over here. Get out of the fucking front and just run.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Because horror movies, you have to have characters that are not going to act the way people act all the time. That's part of the joy of it is seeing these people, kind of get
screaming
killed.
Women.
Screaming women. Well,
screaming women while their boobies hang. Yeah.
Yeah. Boobies out, yelling,
boobies
screaming,
out,
running around.
You did get to see your boobies.
There was
Let's clap to that. You did get to see one set of boobies.
There was the cocaine kids, right?
Cocaine. Those were not pretty boobies, but at least you got to see something.
Got some boobies in this, yes. There was going back to our Friday the 13th viewings. Now, did you think? Let me ask you this, because you're you. For anybody that doesn't know you,
Pregnancy watch.
You are no pregnancy watch. You're very into, and you also practice makeup and application effects and stuff like that. I would think that maybe the biggest draw of this movie from people who are fans of the FX like you are, and also who work within it, would be that, because that seems to be what the biggest draw of this movie is once the demon stuff starts happening, it's just full on like green vomit and blood,
green
and,
fluorescent vomit,
like zits opening up and fucking little fists coming out of it, and a lot of gross stuff going on. It was pretty gross. What would you say? Is this one of your favorite practical effects movies? And if it is, or even if it isn't, what is one of your favorite like effects in this film?
I have several parts in this film that I love. It's not my number one. My number one will always be for the most bloodiest one I've ever seen is Dead Alive, which I fucking love, and I want Larry to play it. The second turning, which was the Italian hoe, when she's her nails start coming out. Like they look at her nails, and it's just was so disgusting and beautiful.
It was like dripping. It was dripping.
It was dripping, and the nails were growing while you watched it grow. I think that was pretty cool. And my disappointment was, out of the whole thing, it was my disappointment, but it was the best one to happen, was when the demon came out of the girl's back.
Oh,
the way it ripped and it started to come out and this ugly thing came out, it was beautiful. My disappointment is that motherfucker was probably like 5 feet tall. He wasn't very big. He was just like this tiny little thing. It's like they went and got tattooed from, Fantasy Island to play this guy, because he was so small, and I was so disappointed because I really wanted him to be like this grandioso, huge guy, but it was just a tiny little guy.
You can't rip out of someone's back and be giant. It takes time. You got to rip out.
You can't rip out of somebody's like that, period.
Well, I'm just saying, if we're going to stretch the reality of it all to a certain extent, we got to have him come out kind of tiny, and then he can grow. If he tore out 7 feet tall, you would have seen him immediately. You would have already noticed a huge lump in her back,
That's true. But here's the thing. She didn't get cut. She didn't get scratched. She didn't get anything. She just, for some reason, she was in tune with what was happening, because she kept saying and talking about it, and it felt like there was like a connection with the demon situation and her, and that's why suddenly she like turned, and this fucking thing came out of her back, which I think was, out of all of them, that was pretty rad special effects to happen. I like that one the most. That and the nails.
What exactly were the rules of becoming a demon in this? Like,
you have to be scratched by bit, anything. If they scratch you, touch you, bite you, or anything, your turn. Kind of like a werewolf.
I thought one of the grosser effect scenes in this was when the blind guy, whose wife and or daughter and or healthcare aide was busy banging some guy in like the balcony of the movie theater, when he got his eyeballs just like completely thumbed in by that thing. That was disgusting. That was nauseating.
It's so bad. He found her, and he's like, she's already dead on the ground because she got killed with the rope and that while they were kissing and fucking, and I don't know, it was beautiful the way the zombie just took the rope and kind of just like tightened it a lot, and then killed him that way. And he finds her dead body. He blind as fuck, but he knows it's her. What was it? Who was it? It was the black zombie. It was the girl, the whole zombie. Demon. Came at him with her nails, right? I think it was her.
No zombie, demon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why am I thinking zombie? Demon. Sorry, demon. And she ripped, like those nails just went right into his eyes and just like ripped them. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was gorgeous.
I don't think she knew that he was blind. She might have picked something else, but still, even if you're totally blind, it must be nice to at least have your eyeballs intact. And this chick went balls deep on his head.
But it didn't kill him right away. That's the thing, because he was able to talk to the other people when they showed up.
He was all fucking pizza faced after that point. Yeah.
but there was which they didn't catch it. The director or whoever did not catch this part when the guy was talking to them and the pimp was gonna grab the body and say, "Let's just throw it over. She's already dead. Let's just throw her over." He lunged towards him like, "Don't leave her alone." I'm like, "Dude, you're blind. How do you know where he's at?"
Right.
Like he was talking to him and maneuvering around and trying to stop him, like he can see him.
He's got that Daredevil sense. He's got that, he knows everything that's going on. Echolocation.
He's got the radar.
Yeah.
That was pretty gross. Not the gross, but like the best transformation. Because they were just a couple on screen.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go with, as we have decided to name her officially, Black Hoe. It was the first. It was long. It was
long.
It took her like 40 minutes to fully change. They kept going back to the movie. We're almost 3/4 of the way through the movie. In the movie, she's in the bathroom, like with her zits exploding and her eyes are changing colors, and she's fucking throwing up green spittle.
And then her pimp's like, "Where's she at?"
He's like, go find that bitch. Like, yeah, the pimp ain't gonna stop watching the movie. He's gonna make the other
playing. He was like, I'm not stopping. You go get her. And then he smacks the other one in the ass, like, "Go get her."
I also did like, even though it was not a like there was no transformation scene to be told, but the fact that you follow essentially the girl from the subway in the beginning all the way through the movie, she survives all the way through, and then at the very end, you get the Michael Jackson Thriller scene where she turns her head. She turns her head, and now she's a zombie, or I'm sorry, a demon, a demoni, and that little kid, that little fucking kid with all the survivors, he shotguns her in the face.
He shotguns and continues to eat a sandwich. That was the best part. He continues to eat the sandwich.
Yeah, well, you gotta get your nutrients when you're fighting demons. I did like, the movie is chaotic to me, where it's, but it has a cool structure. These people get drawn into a place. They're obviously sitting ducks, and now they have to fight till the end. You could equate that to like Aliens or Alien or something along those lines. There's definitely a lot less plot in this one, but I like that idea. It definitely gets kind of chaotic throughout the middle third, where all of a sudden you get introduced to the cocaine kids, and then like they're just in the movie theater, like ripping up the seats and making barricades. But then as you go further towards the end, where the motorcycles come into play, and they eventually, I like the idea that they escape out into the world, and now you realize that this is happening like everywhere. I like movies that do that, where it's like, okay, you think this is like a one-off incident, and now you realize that like this is it. The world is now fucked.
Yep, and we can blame the eyeless man, the blind guy, because he's the one that snuck out and got the 2 cops.
Right. Remember, right. I forgot about that. Yes. Yep.
That's how the crazy rock and roll, heavy metal cokeheads were able to go into the theater, because the door opened. When they went in, he came out, or vice versa. Yeah, and then the cops got it, and that was that shit spread quick though.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's demon AIDS. I mean, that thing is like there's no cure. There's no
demon AIDS.
There's no demon HIV. It goes straight to full blown demon AIDS.
It goes straight to full on demon AIDS.
Yeah, that's bad news. Other thing I noticed about this movie is the soundtrack was pretty good. Like, you got Motley Crue in there. This is a mid-'80s Italian movie, produced by, what was his name? Dario Argento.
Dario Argento. He's a man. He's the man, honey.
I think there's a Megadeth song in there. There was some pretty good stuff in there, which is, I'm not going to say unusual, but for a lower budget film, to have these acts that were, number one at that time, was pretty impressive.
I found it to be a fast viewing, because there's so much action going on. Yeah. There's only little parts that are kind of like slowed, but it just moved down, boom, 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 no stopping. Even towards the very end, when the credits started rolling and she was touching the back of her neck, And I'm like, oh, here we go. And that's when I said to you, I was like, just don't turn it off yet. You want to keep watching to the very end. Even the credits are rolling. This is like the MCU universe. You have to wait till the credits roll. And that's when she turned. And it was crazy and I felt bad for him because he thought he was going to get laid.
Yeah, no, he did.
He had that sad face. Like, I did all this shit for you and for us.
Maybe he did. How do we know? We just don't know how it was. That's all. It might have been, that demon sex. Maybe she grew a peg or something and took care of it.
But she was ugly, honey. Yeah. I don't get the fluorescent, slimy, pussy crap coming out of them. But because a lot of them, you killed them and it was all green and pussy looking, and it was like bright green fluorescent. I mean, I get it. It was the 80s, but come on.
Everything had slime in the 80s, right? I mean, I
think so.
I had a He-Man set when I was a kid that you used to put He-Man in this little tower, and you poured slime in it and pull the lever and it would slime He-Man. and what was that show on Nickelodeon?
I can't believe I can't believe something on television.
Yeah, I can't believe this is on television or whatever. Where
something like that. And if you said, I don't know, it would like slime will fall over you. I remember watching that. Oh my God, we're old. I remember watching that.
Everything had to have slime in the 80s.
Everything has slime in the 80s. Oh my gosh.
All slime all the time.
Oh, well, that's the best thing. Ghostbusters. You had Slimer. Come on.
Did you say that you saw this at 12 years old?
I saw this movie when I was come on. I watched Hannibal Holocaust when I was 5. So yeah, okay, this was nothing.
That was extreme.
That was very extreme. And I didn't even know I had no idea what it was called. In my entire life working at the video store, I was like, where is this fucking movie where the lady gets impaled in the center of this like tribe through the mouth, like the wood goes in the mouth and out the anus, and she's just literally impaled. And I looked and I finally, later on in life when I got older, I was able to find it. I was like, that's the fucking movie, because that shit is hard to find.
You probably have some interesting FBI checking out your
my user browser.
Yeah, your browser when you're typing in wood through the mouth and anus. They probably are like, let's get a van over outside of her house.
Well, I found that when I worked at the video store, because it was a very independent film movie. It's the movie theater, and then it had a very tiny down the street was the video store, was a mom and pop shop, and of course the basement had the porn, like every little video store has. And his specialty was all foreign and independent film, where independent films was not what it is today. So like you really had to search deep to find this stuff, like the rarest and the most disturbing shit you can think of, that man had.
Yikes.
Yes, he did. It was pretty rad. I just want to know that if you like it, because, you watched it at your place and we were, doing the video, we were doing the little chat online, but I want to know, did you scream in any parts of this film? Because we know that you like to scream.
No.
You didn't scream?
This movie's not scary. This is a gore fest, but not a scary fest, right? So I don't think there was even a scene in this movie that was even jump scare worthy that I could remember. Now, I'm not coming down on it for that. It made up for that in spades with the amount of like fucking shit being splattered all over the place. But I think a lot of times with horror movies, not a lot of them cross all the categories. Mm-hmm. You might have the one with all the jump scares, and the one with psychologically terrifying, and the one that like you're screaming out loud, and then the one that is not scary but it's so gross you don't forget it. I think this one would probably lean more towards like just gross like effects.
I enjoyed it. I like when they killed the we didn't talk about when they killed the guy that was in the movie and gave her the ticket. It was towards the end when they were able to get out of the theater through the roof. And then that guy was trying to get him to he pushed the young Italian hunk to fall, and he pushed the girl, and he wanted him to fall down, but the girl impaled him with something that was on the roof. I don't recall what it was. And the guy was able to come up, and they were able to push him through. It was like that scene from Zombie, that scene where the wood is just sticking out and they're pushing her head and the wood's going into her eye. Do you remember watching that on the movie Zombie?
I've never seen Zombie. I would
Oh
have
my
seen
God.
both. I would have seen both the other night.
I
But
know.
I was being
Damn COVID.
responsible. Yeah, well, I didn't even know. I didn't feel well, and I did the right thing. I just didn't
Yeah.
go. So yeah.
But there's a specific scene where it's a slow motion impalement of the wood in the eye. It is the most beautiful scene because it's done so slow and so meticulously. The way that it's just slowly getting, and you can't look away. You cannot look away because you're like waiting for this thing to go in the eye. Oh, we gotta watch Zombie. That's the next one we have to watch.
I'll check that out next. But yeah,
you have to watch it.
That doesn't sound.
It is beautiful, but that's how they killed the guy with impaling him, and then they impaled him. They impaled him through the mask side.
I feel like I remember that, but I was getting tired. Maybe I drifted off a little bit at the very end there. I remember the helicopter. I remember all the rest of it. I think in the chaos, I might have caught a couple of Z's there, a disco nap possibly.
But that's why I was telling you there is a plot to it because the guy was in the movie. The guy's the one that gave the ticket, and he's the guy at the end when he gets killed. Look, so it's like if
I fell asleep, it wasn't long enough to miss the plot to this movie. There was an idea. There was an idea behind this movie, but I don't know if there was much a plot. But again, nothing. Like you said, there was a plan. These guys had a plan. They were going to draw people to go see this movie. They're going to unleash the demon AIDS apocalypse upon Berlin, Germany, and there we go. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Think about this. If they were to remake this film now in 2022 coming up, do you think it would be a good remake? Or how do I want to word this? If they were to remake it, what do you think the plot should be?
I think it should be the same. I think if you were to remake it, the only thing you would probably do is make it bigger. So maybe not make it like where it's only taking place in a theater. Like, let's say you're going to remake it, so it's going to take place in America because that's what we do. So,
of course,
you have the movie theater in the mall, the biggest mall in America, Minnesota. Right. So then certain people get invited to this thing. And then as it breaks out, it takes place across the whole mall. And you've got hundreds of people fighting versus hundreds of these demons. That seems to be the way they do these things a lot of times is they just make them bigger. And that's what you could do. I mean, and you could still do weird stuff like introduce the punk rock kids doing all the drugs halfway through. You could just make it make more sense. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not. They could be doing coke out of like a Red Bull can. I don't know. It'd be a little bit more updated, but that's all.
But that'd be crazy because we wouldn't know how to fit them in. How would you fit the punk rock kids doing coke in their 2022 version that's in the mall? And when you say in the mall, I'm thinking like Dawn of the Dead, the remake. It was like they were there.
But a much bigger mall.
But a much bigger mall. Okay.
Like a gigantic mall. Where once this thing spills out, and then you do half of the movie, you do everything quicker, right? You don't spend as much time watching the movie in a movie. Shit erupts, it goes crazy. You're out of the movie theater within half of the movie, and now it's all over the mall. Then maybe the last 15 minutes is fighting them in the city. And, I think the one thing I would want to keep from this movie, which I did like, is I did like the ambiguous ending where, it ends where the survivors are driving off into this distance where they don't know what's going to happen. And, because really, how do you defeat a fucking a zombie horde, or I'm sorry, a demon horde?
I know we keep calling it zombie because it was kind of zombie-esque if you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And I would like to the survivor, at least one of them, to turn.
Yeah, and I'm sure they throw that in there as a,
and change it up instead of the girl, they'll do the good-looking guy.
I have the Italian hunk in the fucking tight jeans.
Hey, why not? Let's change it up. Let's change no more Italian. Let's make up a really beautiful American man with like a mullet or something.
There you go.
Why not?
Business up front, party in the back. Yeah,
that's right. And the party in the back is where you get scratched.
Yes, exactly.
And then you're dead.
He moves his mullet, and you see a scratch, and you know.
There you go. And that's it. He's done. He's pretty much over it. I like the fact that you got to see the movie.
Yeah, no.
I talked about it a lot with you, and you got to see it, and you're like, "What the hell is this?"
No, it was fun. It was fun.
It's a fun movie to watch, and it's not something that you're gonna sit and go, "This is the best film ever made." But you watch it, you get entertained. I watch it every year. I love it. It's entertaining. It's fun for me. I'm not one of those crazy people that have to like dissect every little piece of it and go, "Oh no, this and that and blah blah blah." I'm not one of those. I'm watching a film to entertain myself. They don't make films for like they're not gonna cure cancer. Instead, they're going to have, like you said, zombie AIDS.
Demon AIDS.
Damn it, with the zombie again.
Or if you want to be more correct as to its Italian title, it's Demoni. It's
Demoni.
The Italian word is Demoni.
Demoni. And it was Demodi.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think it was great. They were really funny. I like Harold getting his ass kicked and killed. He was an asshole to his wife. All she wanted to do was have a nice, beautiful, anniversary. Why were you married to this man, woman? I could never understand.
I'm taking you to the damn picture show, aren't I?
I'm taking you to the picture show. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. And hey, at least they had the perfect product placement. They had the Coke can, and then the other girl that got her Coke from the vending machine. So they had one product placement, and it was placed just in the right spot.
I wonder if
because a lot of these films, everything has to be product placed.
Coca-Cola probably, let them use it and didn't see the movie, and then when they saw the movie, they realized that they were using their can as a cocaine delivery device. They probably weren't too happy, but
come on, what are you gonna do with Coke? You gotta snort it. You gotta snort it through a straw while you're driving a mini, like a state. It was one of those station wagons that they stole.
Yeah, it was like a Peugeot or something, and they kept on driving around the same shit. Like every scene they showed them, they were passing by the same restaurants, like Strumbazi Diazanios, and I'm like, this is the same fucking shot, just from different angles, over and over again.
Well, budget was tight back in the day. They could they only had time to just go by that area, and they just re-looped it and used it again. That's what happens.
It's all good.
It's all good. Well, I'm glad you watched it, John. Thank you for joining me on this Amayo podcast here on Horror's Eve. And I'm very, very happy that we got to do this finally. And I do want you to get better. And I want you to be able to get back to work, because I know you're driving yourself nuts in there all alone.
I'm ready.
Waiting for the missus to knock on the door and put your food out the door, and she scurries away. You're in prison, man.
Can't spread it, man. Can't spread it.
No, especially you cannot spread it all. You got to stay hitting away until after the holidays.
Yep.
All right. Thank you again, my love.
You're welcome.
You are one of the greatest person ever, and you're the one that has taught me to do all this podcast stuff, and I'm very, very grateful for it. So thank you, Poppy. And I'll see you guys another time. Take care, everybody.